Welcome back to MMAOddsBreaker. I'm Frank Trigg. Today, of course, we got Michael Chandler wearing his infamous Mizzou shirt. He caught me actually the other day. You know, when you spell U, it's Y-O-U. But to Mike, I always spell U-O-U, meaning University of Oklahoma. And he never really caught it. This last time, he was like, dude, stop saying that to me. He
No way.
Mizzou. Yeah, I do it all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do it all the time. Yeah, you and Askren. Yeah, you, Askren, DC, Couture, like anybody that wrestled in the Big 12. Like I spell U-O-U, capital O-U.
That's actually hilarious because I thought it was just a typo, and I was like, so I thought I was just making a joke, but really the joke was on me ever since we met. So
yeah, I do it to you all the time. You just never noticed it, and it's so subtle. People really kind of do skip over it. They never really caught it. You're the first one to catch me on it.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, make it feel not smart, but I thought it would be a funny thing.
Hey, look, man, my parking, my degree, I still have to use as a regular degree. It hangs on my wall. I know you feel special because your degree gets to hang on the back of your rearview mirror, so you can park in that special space. Like I know.
I don't even know where it's at right now.
I couldn't tell you where mine is. To be honest with you, I have no clue. No clue. I never use a degree, never will. Just not one of those things.
You finished though, so that's good.
Yeah, I did. That was why I chose OU because I knew I was going to finish. With you guys had Brian Smith, we had Jack Spates. Brian was one of Jack's guys that he brought in to take over Missouri, and the reason why I went to OU because in my day, I'm much older than you, just better looking. That most guys didn't graduate. A lot of guys, not necessarily wrestling, but as a whole, you didn't get a degree. You didn't get out with a degree, and that was one of the things that in wrestling was either make the world team, make the Olympics, or go in the real world. And my class, a lot of us got out. For you, do you know how many guys of your senior year that wrestled? Did all you guys graduate? All you guys walk out with degrees or pretty close?
I mean, as far as the guys who started at the same time and we all graduated together, yeah, we all got degrees. I think we had 13 in our freshman class. We ended up graduating with like 5 or 6. Yeah, those guys didn't necessarily drop out of school. They just stopped on the wrestling team and they lost contact with them, or they transferred other places. But yeah, like you said, Brian Smith he was on the mat. Obviously, we were on the mat 2 or 3 times a day. But if you weren't getting your schoolwork done, you were going to hear about it. He was going to be on you. If your grades weren't good, he was going to be on you.
Yeah.
So he didn't just make good wrestlers; he made good men. So I pride myself on that.
Our thing was from Jack Spates. His motto was building all Americans on and off the mat. That was his big thing, and he tried. He wanted to keep everybody out of trouble. Because obviously young and part of the program, and you're an athlete, and especially in the Midwest where you're a wrestler. It's not football. It's not basketball, but it's pretty stinking close. Unless you're at University of Iowa, where wrestling is bigger than both of those. Everywhere else is kind of third tier. We still got away with a lot of crap. We could do a lot of things, get away with a lot of stuff, and we got a lot of trouble. We got.
Well, that's the funny thing. I was kind of in that transition period where when Coach Smith had been around the program maybe like 7, 8, 10 years or something like that. Then they finally started having success right around the time I came in. Yep. So my class and kind of the classes after that was when the media actually started paying attention to us. If guys got in trouble, it wasn't necessarily swept under the rug anymore because now we were an elite program, so we were even held to a higher standard than the classes before us. Woodley's class. Whenever Coach Smith first came in, it was just a bunch of guys, and then they started getting a bunch of top recruits.
Yeah, it was tough, and you obviously it was easy for you because you don't do anything. You're not a bad kid. You don't have that gene in you like most of us have, where you want to go do something. We want to get have action and half the action sometimes is throwing a beer mug through a plate glass window in a bar. That's just what it is. We're not evil people. We're not mean. We're not rowdy. We're just like we want to have some kind of action. That's kind of how it goes. Not saying that I ever threw a beer mug through a plate glass window because I didn't drink beer in college. I drank a lot of vodka. So you didn't do anything. But did you have anybody on your team? And don't name names. We're not putting anything in the bus. But you have guys on the team. You're like, hey, it's in season. It's Friday night. I know you want to go out, but you need to take somebody with you to make sure you get home okay.
Oh yeah, there was really only me and one other guy that pretty much stayed. Not necessarily. We weren't perfect, but there was just I would say there was just me and one other guy who I actually lived with all 4 or 5 years. That pretty much kind of stayed focused on the task at hand, and. At the end of the day, everyone's young. It's college. There's a lot of opportunities to have a lot of fun. But my motivation or I guess my goals were a lot different than some of the other guys. A lot of guys, you know how it was. A lot of guys just wanted to be on the team. They just wanted to be part of something. Then there was the other guys who, kind of wanted to be. They were half in, half out, and then there was the guys who were completely dedicated. And I knew I was so far behind coming into college that if I didn't stay completely, kind of focused on the task at hand, that I was going to keep on. I wasn't going to be able to start. I wasn't going to be able to, ever be All-American or even give myself a chance to be a national champ. So
it's been one of those days. I'm kind of almost every interview I'm doing today is with a former wrestler of some sort, whether they were a high-level high school guy or got all the way into D1 and was a high-level D1 guy, or they went onto the world team and obviously were high world international athletes. That drive, it seems, with wrestlers. We look at a lot of these records where, you and I talked before we started. You're on a 3-fight losing streak right now. Your next fight is against Derek Campos coming up in Bellator 138. But you look at these records, a lot of these guys, you come in, you're like, oh, you're 9-1, you're 12-3. It's like these records aren't they're not bad by any means. Or you're looking at them and you're looking at your opponent, and not necessarily this opponent now with Derek, but some opponents and some other guys are getting like 21-9 or 27-3, and you're like, how do you think about the experience levels? And they've always said, well, look, I've been wrestling since I was 6. So here comes the question I have for you. You've been wrestling for a very long time. Do you even have an idea of how many wrestling matches that you actually had? Do you have a count for that?
No. No, because you have in competition during college season, during high school season, and then you have the not out of competition, but the summer stuff, the freestyle stuff. 500. 700. A lot of matches.
How old were you when you started wrestling?
I wrestled a little bit from like 5 years old till about 8 or 9, and then I quit until I was a freshman in high school. So I basically started all back over as a freshman in high school.
So I started at 12 years old, which is like essentially 6th grade, and I competed all the way through until essentially trying to make the 2000 games, and that was like the end of my run. And I stopped counting at 1,500. Like I was at 1,500 matches, and I had to stop counting. Like I couldn't keep track of where everything was. And some years earlier, obviously, when I was younger, I'd get almost 100 matches a season, including in season and then freestyle Greco season, because I wrestled both Greco and freestyle.
Oh yeah.
Then you get into later on. You talk to some of these guys that started wrestling when they're 6, and they were just like Johnny Hendricks. Like these guys just wrestled all the time until they got out of college. Like they're 2,000, 3,000. You've got to be up somewhere over 1,500, 2,000 probably.
I would imagine. Yeah. If I really thought about it, because high school I was 131 and 30 whenever I graduated, so that's 160-ish. And then in college, I had 100 wins and like a lot of losses, like 40 losses or something. So
college is a different breed. It's a different.
Yeah, so that's 400 something right there.
And then add in from 6th grade from 6 years old to 9, and add in all the and those are like sometimes you get those tournaments at that age, you might have like 10 matches a weekend.
Oh yeah,
you're like. You get 80 matches in a season. You haven't even done anything. You're like 6 years old. You don't even know because you're running around. So
exactly.
But that experience level comes in pretty handily to a lot of this stuff. Now we're talking about you're on a 3-fight losing streak right now. It's happened before in wrestling. Where I've lost 3 fights. I've lost 3 matches in a row. I'm having a down week. For us, it's a week. It's a Tuesday, Thursday, then a weekend. I've had a down week. I got to figure my stuff out. With fighting, it's 3 fights is a year. It's almost a year. Like that's a long time to like dwell on and deal with it. What's it like mentally trying to deal with? Hey. This cannot be another loss. I've got to get a win coming in now. Even though I've had 2 split decision losses, and then you got caught by Will Brooks in the last fight and got TKO'd. But they're close fights. These are close fights you're losing, but they're still loss is a loss. So what's the mental thing coming into getting ready for this one? Where you're like, hey, this is my 4th fight. I got to win this one. I got to put this one together.
Well, I think undoubtedly having that wrestling experience. I don't want to say like wrestling taught me how to be okay with losing because I'm not okay with losing whatsoever. But like you said, you could lose three wrestling matches in a matter of a week, and then next week you win 4, and then you get right back on top and you can forget about those. And then before you know it, 6 weeks later, those 3 losses are, 100 matches away,
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, going through this period where it was 2 extremely close fights where even a lot of people in the media and fans thought I'd won. But that's neither here nor there. Then, getting caught, which is the nature of the fight world, and the last one, and never really getting that quick turnaround to be able to say, okay, let me hop in the cage again, fight, get a win, and get back on in the win column. So that's definitely what this fight is. Get back in the win column. I by no means sit here and say, man, I gotta win because I've lost. I gotta win because I want to win. I gotta win because I was put in this sport for a reason. I gotta win because I train right. I train hard. I train with some of the best coaches in the world. I train with the best guys in the world. I am disciplined with my diet. I am disciplined with my social life, my personal life, my family life, my spiritual life. I'm disciplined in all areas, so there's no reason why I shouldn't win. That's kind of my motivation. And if I was going to lose three fights in this career, if I never lose again, the fact that these 3 losses happened in a row makes me a better man. Or if I would have been spread out over a 4-year period, it's going to be, if anything, we're going to look back at the end of my career and say, man, he was down in a valley for those 3 fights. That must have really sucked. How did he pull through it? How did he stay mentally strong? How did he stay excited about the sport, motivated for the sport, and still believe that he deserved great things,
How does your wife deal with you losing? I mean, because she's been around you the whole time. All she understands is you as a winner. She doesn't understand like losses that much with you at all. Because when you guys got together, you were a winner and you just kept on winning. And she's been around for a long time. She's been around for a long time in your career, but it's been a lot of wins. So how does she deal with the losses?
It's tough for her too. I mean, she even it's funny, like there'll be promo videos that come out and just hearing my opponent's name, she's like, God, I hear that name, I hear his name, I know that's the guy you're fighting next, and I get this sick feeling because I have put her through the ringer these last 3 fights, and that's the nature of this sport, and its beauty is also its freaking devastation. I love the wars that I've been in, that I've won, and I love the competition, and I love the fact that I can go out and I can knock out Dave Rickles with my second fight and walk away with a win bonus. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I can also get clipped by Will Brooks and lose. So it's just, there's so much unknown, and to me, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the uncertainty. I know what's about to happen. I'm going to get locked into a cage, and who knows what's going to happen. But with her, she comes from an athletic background, but it's basketball and it's softball and it's volleyball and it's not exactly as crazy as fighting. And of course, she loves me and thinks the world of me. So it's hard to see me lose, but she takes it a lot harder than I do. Because I know, my best days are still ahead of me, and so does she. But I can see it because I see the work that I put in, and I know my calling on this sport. And once, a year from now, or after this fight, and then one more fight after that, I'll be probably fighting for the title again. I'm going to win the title, hopefully beat up Will Brooks, and it'll all be bygone.
And that was my next thing, is that you're really literally 1 or 2 fights away from being back on a title hunt. And now that she's seen you lose, what changed in the house, like for this training camp, as far as like, okay, now we're going to get him back on a winning track? And how do you think she's going to react when obviously you're back on a winning streak? Because, the emotions, she's going to be kind of all over the place. She won't be the same as because she didn't know that you lost. She didn't know that you knew how to lose. Like, she's never seen it before. And all of a sudden, oh crap, you lost 3 in a row. Now we're winning again. Like, do you think she's going to be over anxious and overstep like one of those wives? Or is she going to be one of the wives that's just like, and publicly, I'm talking about public figure. At home is a different deal, but like in public, is she going to be one of those like, it's fine, we're okay? Like, how is she going to handle it publicly wise?
I think at the end of the day, it all comes back to me. How I handle losing. I can't say that is better or worse than other people handle losing, but I think I try to keep it pretty even. And maybe I do sound too optimistic sometimes. Maybe I am on a 3-fight losing streak, and a lot of people will be like, man, how the heck does he stay positive? Because it does seem weird. You lose 3 fights in a row, or you're losing money because you're losing fights. You're losing this, and you're losing that because you're losing fights. But at the end of the day, it's not this 3-fight little situation this much of my big career, and I can see that big picture because I've always seen the big picture, and I know where I'm going to end up. But I think she's pretty even. She's pretty even keeled too. That's one of the reasons I married her. She's just solid everywhere. She's just solid in the good times. She's solid in the bad times. She's solid when we're having fun and being crazy, or she's solid when we need to be serious. She's just solid, So it's gonna be. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy because I imagine a fight career is a little bit harder on the marriage than a lot of other businesses that be in, with the ups and downs and the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
But luckily, I found myself a good one, and I try to stay pretty even keel and kind of head the household.
I will say this: the couple times I've met her, it's been real brief encounters, and she's been completely present in the moment, but not like, "Hey, look at me." Hey, I'm like Chandler's wife. Like, no, like, nice to meet you. How you doing, or whatever. And she'll recall. It takes a second for her to remember that we met before, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's right, I remember." Okay, whatever. And then but she's very. When you say even keeled, she is probably one of the most even keeled women that are that are severely involved in the sport, as not as a fighter, but as a significant other. She's very just like very manufactural. I'm here to watch my man fight, and I'm going to go home and watch him fight. No matter what happens, I'm kind of just going to be here, and that's just how the game works, you know.
Yeah, and that's what really attracted me to her. I mean, she had never even seen an MMA fight before we got together. You know, the first, whenever we first got together, I was kind of talking to her, but we weren't close enough to like for her to go to my fight or even watch my fight. I sent it to her afterwards, and that was pretty much the first time we did a fight. And so she married me for me, and that's a beautiful thing. And she just wants to be my wife. She wants to be my helpmate. She wants to be my my other half. She doesn't want any attention. She doesn't want any credit. She just wants to be with me.
And that's, in my mind, at least, that's the perfect partner, for my setting.
Exactly.
I got a lot of experiences in perfect partners, so I can tell you when I see a perfect one. But talking about partners, let's talk about Derek Campos. That's your opponent coming up here in Bellator 138. It's going to be how do you see this fight breaking down? How do you see him as a competitor? I know you've watched film. I know Neil has got you, got the game plans together, and Eric Delfino. I know you guys down the lines have got things in motion. You set up. You know exactly what's going to happen. You repeated it 1,000 times. You're doing it over and over again. But them saying the moves down, them giving you the game plan, and then you sitting at home at night and putting it through your head and going, "This is what I see actually happening." What do you see actually happening? How do you think this thing's going to break out?
I think I think I'm better everywhere than Derek. I think I like him as a fighter. I'm watching him a little bit. If I take off the fact that I want to freaking put his head through the canvas and finish him and knock him out or choke him out, if I put that aside, when I look at him as a fan of the sport, I like the way he fights. He comes forward, he fights hard, he does not give up. He's not going to be an easy guy to finish. I love a couple fights ago when I had to fight Dave Rickles. Dave Rickles was a goer. He was a grinder. You couldn't stop him. You couldn't finish him. We need those kind of guys in the sport, and Derek Campos is the same. He comes forward. He bites down on his mouthpiece. He'll eat some shots. He'll get hit just to swing a couple, and he swings hard. And he swings wild, and he's pretty good everywhere. But I just feel like I'm on a whole other level in this. Through these losses, like we just talked about, I've grown so much as a man, as a competitor, and changing up certain things with my training camp, changing up certain things with my technique, with my approach to the game, with my philosophy of the game. It's really going to be hard to stop me. And that's the way I'm supposed to feel right now, right? 3 weeks before a fight, I should feel unstoppable, and I do. So I feel like I'm going to stop Derek Campos within the 3 rounds sometime, but I look forward to fighting against him. I look forward to competing against him and testing myself against a true, gritty, tough veteran of the sport.
You said you changed some stuff in your training camp. What's changed in your training camp?
I've had Neil take over. Neil is 100% he's my go-to with everything, whether it's setting up workouts, whether it's setting up mitt work with coaches, or if it's setting up ground stuff with him, or it's setting up sparring or this and that. Neil's been with me since the beginning. This because I started there at Extreme Couture, 5 years ago. And the amount of passion that he has for the sport, the amount of knowledge he has for the sport, and the amount of love that he has for me as an individual, as an athlete, as a friend, is second to none. So I have 100% confidence that this camp has actually been one of my best camps ever. We've pulled back a little bit on the crazy hard stuff. I've done a lot of drilling, a lot of sequences, a lot of dress rehearsal stuff like that about with yourself, and stuff where it's great for the mind and great for the body because you're not beating up the body as much, and you're not mentally wearing yourself down. So I just did a hard 5 rounds of sparring yesterday and really hard strength and conditioning yesterday, and I felt like $1 million because I haven't killed myself throughout this, these first 4, 5, 6 weeks of training camp. So everything's on point. I went out to Vegas last week for a whole week training with Martinez. He's back in my corner. So it's going to be Neil, myself, and we put the band back together. The Blues.
I actually worked out with Neil when he was in Vegas this last weekend, and I saw Gil when I got done. Gil was just walking into where we were training at, and it was funny. The first thing, I said hi to Gil, whatever, give him hugs, and then walked down. I was walking out to go grab something from the back, get something to drink or something. And I walk out in front, and he's talking about you. Like right away, Gil was talking about you right away. Oh, no, he's got to do this thing, he's got to do this thing and that thing. And you can see the fire and spark like in Gil's mannerisms about what's going on with him. And then Neil earlier, like this is like 2 hours after, we already been in practice and we're getting done. And before that, Neil was like, the first thing Neil was talking about was like Mike Chandler and Team Alliance, what's going on down there and everything else. And you can tell that your coaches have a passion for you as a person. So they're vested. Where it seems like to me, a lot of coaches now in MMA are only vested in how high can you go. And if you're going to be able to take them along for the ride. They're not vested in you as a person. Like they're not going to be like, calling you when you are sick or checking up on you if you have a problem with your car or checking up on you with some other stuff. Like a lot of these coaches now, I feel like are kind of now because it's getting so big and there's so much money on the line now coming up for some of these guys that the coaches are kind of jamming themselves up there trying to get in there. Like the coach of the old, the old martial art coach where he like, you had Brian Smith, I had Jack Spates. Like he was vested in me when I was having a problem in class, he made sure I got a tour. When I was sick, he was calling up on my phone and making sure that I was taking on my medication. If I got hurt and needed to be in rehab, he was making sure I was in rehab. Those kind of coaches are gone.
Yeah,
not gone, but very infrequent now. We're like with Gil, you can see it. With Neil, you can see it. And I know there's other coaches out there that are like that, but obviously we're talking about your coaches right now. What happens if there's a shift? Because coaches have to shift. Say Gil all of a sudden gets a job and needs to move from Vegas and go to New York. So now it's gonna be harder to get with him. Say something happens to Neil where he's sick. He's got that his blood disease. He's got to worry about. Say he gets laid up for a couple months. Like or he's got to move someplace else that's closer to where he can get his medication. He can't stay in San Diego anymore because he's got to get some medication. Is there a situation where you're like, I got to get up and go too? I got to get up and shift to make these to keep everybody together?
Maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, I've moved around a little bit with my career.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Missouri for the first year. Moved. I was in Las Vegas for 2.5 years. I've been here for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of go where my heart, I mean, obviously I'm praying about it, trying to figure out everything. And if a situation like that would arise, it's a tough situation. But with the way things are going right now, I mean, Vegas is a 42-minute flight away.
Yeah, it's easy.
Obviously, my manager, Randall, lives there. It's quick. I mean, I have connections with, a hotel. I can stay there for cheap and all that kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And that situation is working out really well. But yes, at the end of the day, I mean, and Gil kind of said this too. I mean, you got to figure out your what's going to make you the best in this sport.
Right.
Is it whether it's the right guys around you, the right training partners around you, or the right coaches, or a mixture of both? And Alliance has both. They have great coaches and they have a really, really, really good team. And so I've been here for a while and I love these guys. These guys are my training partners. These guys are my team. But I know Gil is part of that puzzle, and that's the guy I was working with when I was knocking people out and winning world titles.
Yep.
and that kind of stuff. So, and he's a great friend, and he's always stayed loyal to me. He's always reached out, even when I was living out here. He's always reached out and was always checking up on me, even when we weren't working together, even when he wasn't, technically my coach anymore for a certain amount of, so he's always been there, and so has Neil. So when you find people like that, you want to hold on to them because they're not just here for when I make millions and millions of dollars eventually. They're here. They were there when I was making $3,000. For Bellator tournament. So
and they were making $30. For an 8-week train camp, their take home was $30. You're like, wow, this is great. So, Mike, thanks for coming on here. I appreciate you talking. Always a pleasure to talk with you, man. It's always a great time. Sorry to get to see you in Vegas. I was running around this last weekend. It was crazy for me. So, have fun on this next fight. It's gonna be a great time. I can't wait to watch it, and we'll talk to you later on.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, man. I'll see you soon.